What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Valvetronic Designs, and today we're super excited. We have a brand new product to show you guys, and we're going to be taking off the factory exhaust on this G20 330i and putting on the new Valvetronic setup. So we're going to go through the entire installation process here. We're going to show you where to cut, what to remove. It's actually a really easy install, which is great, and we'll show you everything step by step. Now, the system I have here on the table is ultimately a development system, so clamp sizes and a couple other little things may be different on the production unit that you're installing. There's going to be a clamp here and just a couple other little improvements that we're making to the system to make it as good as it possibly can for you. I'm going to show you the middle portion here where we remove this hanger. There's two hangers on the side. We've got our exhaust flap, which we're going to be reusing. We're going to swap the hangers over and swap the spring over. Very easy install. All you need, strangely, an extension. It can be whichever size, 3/8, half inch, quarter inch, 13mm socket, and we're going to be using an impact just because it makes it a little bit easier, but if you only have a wrench, you can use that as well. So we're going to get started. We'll show you guys the entire process, removing the factory exhaust, putting on the new one, and then stay tuned to the end of this video and we'll show you guys what this car now sounds like. So under here is where you're going to be making the cut on the G20 330i. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Valvetronic, we produce a F-chassis exhaust. It's a similar configuration to this. Valve rear section, you can combine it with other mid-pipe deletes and such going forward. But that connection was all the way back here. For the G20s, this piping is all very flattened out, so it's obviously hard to get a clamp around. And your best spot to put a clamp is going to be right behind this exhaust dampener, this rubber piece right here. So you can see, because this is a car that we use for development, this has been re-welded, but we'll show you guys where to make the cut. There's a dimple that you'll find on your stock system, which will be right around here. You'll see this weld from the mid pipe to the rear, and then you'll be able to find where this dimple is. That'll be your cut indication. Now, additionally, with this, we're going to be linking a Kies Motorsport video. Brian and his team did a great job installing an M Performance exhaust on a G20 330i, and they have a very nice in-depth installation guide as well. So for anybody who needs a little bit more information, we're going to give you guys the best that we can for this system. But if you're looking for a different installation guide, perhaps for a different system, this will help give you some extra guidance as well. They use like a slice cutter thing. We're going to be using a saw today to cut this, but super easy. We're going to show you guys the saw portion, and then we'll do the rest. Let's get to it. So I have my very important safety glasses. I can barely see anything out of these, so we recommend getting some very clear safety glasses so you guys can make the best cut. Now you can see that this has already been re-welded, so we're going to be cutting this section out. We'll be putting it right to the right, and of course here's a picture of where that dimple is again so that you guys know exactly where to cut. Make sure the cut is nice and smooth because the Valvetronic system is going to slip over that and we're going to clamp it down. So the next step after having made your cut is to come back here and remove the factory valve actuator. Like so. Obviously notate the exhaust right now is in the closed position. We're going to need to be transferring over the exhaust motor onto the new system. And now there are 3 hangers, 1, 2, and 3. And if you have somebody handy, they'll be able to support the rear while you remove the 3 hangers, and the exhaust will come right out. 2. And we can just drop it down, and that's it. As we know for a fact, life is better with lubrication. So spray a little lubrication onto the exhaust hangers here. And then you can easily use this to help loosen up the hangers. And then they're super easy to come off. Remove the rear one. Onto the Valvetronic system like so. Slide it right on, so it's easy. Same thing for the 2 side hangers. Make sure you don't flip the orientation. Make sure the orientation stays the same. I should have been wearing gloves, but now for the next step, you're going to be swapping over the factory valve actuator to the Valvetronic system. The way this works is There are 3 10mm bolts. You're going to remove the actuator and then install it onto the Valvetronic system. This is very important. These have a tendency to rattle. So what you want to do is you want to make sure there's a lot of tension on the spring so that the valve is fully 100% closed when the valve is supposed to be closed. Because if it's 99% closed, it's going to rattle, which is annoying. So when installing your valve actuator, it's all about the tension here. We provide you an exhaust valve spring, as you can see here. This is the factory spring. You can use either. It's all about getting the most tension here. At the end of the day, we don't want this valve rattling. So we'll show you how to install it with the factory spring and the included spring as well. So the top, where it has the extra hook, goes like so. This is in the closed position, remember. Our Valvetronic system we want in the closed position. Line it up as such, and then set the valve motor on top. You can reuse the metal heat shield or not. It is really up to you. So you can see once we press this down, it's very, very tight on the actuator. Now we'll show you here with our spring. And now, with this set up in this fashion, it's very important when the screws go in. This is the most important part because it'll save you headaches down the road. You don't want this valve rattling. So what you're going to do is this. The spring is set on both sides. I'm using my finger to push the spring down and I'm rotating the valve motor. I'm going to grab a drill and tighten it down in this fashion because this is providing a lot of tension so this valve won't rattle. Now with both hands here, I want to rotate as far as possible, bring it down, push as far as I can, down, and lastly, down. Nice and tight. So you can see if I try to move this with my fingers, it is so solid in there, it's not going anywhere and we're not gonna have any rattle problems. Once you have everything transferred over from your factory exhaust system onto the new Valvetronic system, here is the first step of installing your new system. Take the midsection connection and slide it over top of the cut that you just made. There'll be a clamp here. There'll be slats. This is obviously a pre-production unit, so we don't have that, but there will be slats in the pipe and the clamp will slide over and you'll be able to tighten the clamp down and it will tighten the pipes together. Taking this hanger from the midsection to put that up into this area here, and then if you have a drill handy, it's best to get this hanger and attach it because it'll help with your rear section alignment if you don't have other people helping. So that's on a little bit. Now with the new rear section, you're gonna put it up and rotate the hangers up into their correct position and slide your slip connection into your mid-section connection. Like so. It's gonna be best to rotate the hangers up and lightly screw them down so that they're in position. The exhaust is not going to fall on your head. We do not want that. If it does fall on your head, Valvetronic Designs is not liable. Okay, so everything is still loose and your factory valve connection will be able to fit in this area. Now here is the point where you want to work on the ultimate fitment and your positioning of the exhaust tips. There's a lot of movement in this system and we've designed it that way so you can fit our nice 3.5-inch outlet carbon fiber tips or our straight cut single wall tips if you so choose. Now when installing your G chassis system, it's very important to remember that there's a lot of flexibility back here. The best way to install the system is to do as we described, putting in the hangers and then adjusting the fitment so you can get your tips exactly right. Now here as well, you can see up front, we've got a lot of clearance here on the diff. We're going to tighten from the front all the way back, and then we're going to slide our exhaust tips onto the system. Once the hanger portion of the installation is complete, you're going to want to plug in your factory valve actuator. Now you'll realize that there is not enough length here to get the connector to the Valvetronic Designs exhaust valve. Now it's very easy to correct this because this wire is held in with a couple zip ties up in this area, and you can just easily pull them down and extend the wire. The first one is going to be right here. You can just pull this out. This is going to give you some extra length. And then removing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 8mm. You'll then be able to pull this heat shield towards the exhaust system to get it out of the way. And then you'll find up in this corner, you can see right there, there's a push tab with this wire attached to it. This is where the wire is being held into the side of the bumper. If you pull this out, like I have done already, you get a lot more length and ability to plug your exhaust system in. Once you have done this and extended the line, you take those 5 bolts, make sure your shielding is back, rotate all the shielding back into its original position, and using the bolts that you have, one, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You have just enough length to plug it in. Now that this is plugged in and it's not going anywhere, you can then finish up the tightening of the rest of the system. Make sure to understand that there will be some movement in the exhaust tip locations to get the fitment perfect. Tighten down the clamps from the front to the back, and you're almost ready to enjoy your new Valvetronic Designs exhaust experience. Once everything is all tightened up, it's time to grab your Valvetronic Designs exhaust tips. You're going to want to install them with the logo facing up and the clamp on the right hand side. Slide them in. And we like to give a little bit beside the bumper so you can see the logo, but nothing that looks too ostentatious. And then with the tip in this position, looking up at the tip, you can tighten down. Tip gap and fitment is going to be pretty close up here at the top of the system. These are pretty much even. Now once the exhaust tips are installed, you may notice that the exhaust tips are towards the inside of the bumper or maybe towards the outside of the bumper. Because this is a development system, we don't have the clamp section here, but this clamp section will allow you to adjust how much the exhaust is coming in towards the center of the vehicle or towards the outside. So there'll be a lot of flexibility there for you. Make sure your tips are exactly as you want them. Once the exhaust is all installed and your exhaust tips are installed as well, if the car is still in the air and you have a lift, it's best to remote start the car and you can check to see the valve functionality. So you can hear, because we made our valve extremely tight, come to the side, there is absolutely no movement here, which is great. after having tested to make sure the valve is not rattling, the fitment is perfect, your tips are to their desired lengths, it's time for you to go out and enjoy your brand new Valtronic Designs system.